What's up, everybody? So I didn't show anything putting the charger back together because you guys have seen me do that way too many times now. So in light of not boring you with more of that, I'll just tell you what happened. So it's all back together, and I took the cheapest route possible and went back to a mechanical fan. And as you saw, we can't run a fan spacer, and only because the water pump is just too close to that radiator. And as you know, I've roached 2 radiators because of that. The first one was my fault, the second one was my fault. Anyway, we won't need to go into that. But I had to, the way the Vintage Air system, the way the instructions show, this compressor was supposed to be in line with the other 2 pulleys on the water pump, crank, alternator. So we originally had it like that, which led us to have to use a spacer. So I know this is kind of regurgitated information, but I'm just trying to share the whole story with you. So I ended up going back, bought a new clutch, new fan. The shroud was just fine, but we did have to obviously move this compressor back, so only one groove can be used. That's just the way it is. Fired it up this morning, it's fine. I just threw some water in the radiator. I'm gonna flush that out. For some reason there's a bunch of rust in there. I'm not sure if it's from the engine rebuild or the core. The cores are dirty, they were kept outside, who knows. But I'm gonna get some radiator flush and put that in there and maybe do it a couple times. But it's back together, all the wiring's back together for the most part, but I did have to redo this wire from the compressor lead to the binary switch. I did go back to the binary because there's really no use in using a trinary switch, because really the purpose of the binary switch is high and low pressure cutoff, and that's really all I have. The third one, when you use a trinary, is obviously to enable a cooling fan when the AC is off. So that's where I'm at. I got my compressor cycles, I put the package tray in there. I opted for the one with the speaker holes. I thought that was a good idea. I still have to fasten it in there with those little clamps, but it's just in there because I didn't want it to get bent or damaged. And then the trunk divider thing, that's what this is. And I put I just did 2 pairs of seat belts. I didn't think a third one was necessary. I don't have little kids anymore, and if I do, there will just be 1 or 2 back here, so not a big deal. Someone can add it at a different point. So now I have the panels, the side panels for the doors and the back seat, so I have those. I got to put some weather block in order to keep it guarded from moisture. So because obviously when you wash the car, water comes down in there, and if you don't have a moisture block, either some like plastic, adhesive plastic, or something to shield the moisture from your interior panels, they'll absorb moisture and start rotting almost immediately. So you gotta, no matter where you live in the US or abroad, you gotta have a moisture block, otherwise your interior panels will actually start to rot. And because they don't see sun, and especially in moist environments, they will never dry out, and you'll be buying some new ones. So that's that. As you know, the upholstery is done, so I just got to drop those guys back in. But yeah, I need to put these panels in before I put the seats in. So that's where we're at for the charger. So today, now that this thing moves on its own, I still have to fix the starting issue. Remember, I had a ignition 1 and 2 issue, or so I thought. And thanks to you guys that sent me comments about what I should do. What I realized is that when I was talking to American Auto Wire about the ignition 1 and 2 issues that I was experiencing, I worked through those issues, but I remember a point in that conversation where they told me to use the fuel pump circuit to power my MSD box. And I had my MSD box on just a 12-volt ignition wire. Basically, you know, they're all labeled every 3 inches or whatever. So it's not ignition 1 and 2 that are causing my problem. So just to rehash this whole thing, basically what happens is I get in and I can turn the key, the engine will crank, but it won't fire. And when I put the brown wire and the yellow wire on ignition power, it fired up immediately, but it wouldn't stop cranking. So that tells me that it's the key. There's nothing wrong with the way it's wired, but what's happening is during crank, ignition gets interrupted to the MSD box, and I watched it happen when I crank. There's a 5 light blink when you power up an MSD box, and that was happening. It was going dark, and then once I was cranking, it would reboot itself basically. So I need to switch the fuel pump circuit to the MSD box, just the trigger. The power is obviously going straight to the battery. So there's that. So I still got to do that, but the car's in running condition, and I'm happy about that. So why am I filming today, you might ask? Last night I got this thing running just on some brake clean. I'll show you guys that. But we are onward and upward with the F100 rebuild, which is the cone hauler, for those of you who know this truck. So what I'm doing is I gotta go around and scuff this whole paint, or I'm sorry, this whole frame. And because I've drilled holes over the years, they have like a little bit of a flared, sharp edge. And let me show you what I'm talking about. You can see how there's like an edge on that hole. And if I use a pump center on that, it'll start cutting into the paper. So what I'm doing is I'm going around with a 26 Roloc and just basically knocking down that hole. I still don't know if I'm going to weld these. I might, but I might not. So we'll see. But I just wanted to show you guys that's what I'm doing. And we're going to do time lapse. So here we go. Show you guys something real quick. So Ford in 66 or 65, 66 and 70, they put the VIN number on the frame under the cab. I don't know why they did it. I have no idea. So that was the only place that I knew to look. So I remember buying a truck out of state, and here in California we have to have it inspected if it's from out of state by AAA or the DMV, which is a hassle because you try to get a DMV employee to lay on the ground with a mirror and a flashlight. Try that, let me know how it works out. But I have a AAA membership, and it's worth its weight in gold for towing, especially when you build hoopties that break down every so often. It's worth $120 or whatever a year. But so this is the VIN number right here. It's under the cab. F10 AR 805669 star and something else there. However, I uncovered another one here today. Where was it? Maybe it's over here. I think I had my material straight before I started this video, but I remember uncovering it. It's not this guy. It's actually, maybe it is on the passenger side. There's one here, but that isn't it. I'm not sure what this is, but this is another number that, don't let that fool you, because that's not the right one. There's another one here on the side with the cab on the truck. You can actually see it. Huh. Well, making me a liar apparently. It's just really kind of hard to see after I've sanded it. Where is that thing? You can edit this out. But let's see it. Where
is that?
Weird. On the top. Oh, here it is. So, on the passenger side, the same frame number exists inside the engine compartment on the passenger frame rail. So, no need to get the DMV lady or try to get her to lay on the ground and verify your truck. It is right there on the passenger side frame rail for you. Also, something else that's interesting is, see these little tabs right here? That tab and right there. So there's spacers inside the frame. This is for the steering box, and there's an insert in here. You can see it better right here. This little spacer in here. These are the 3 steering box mounting holes. They're basically spacers to keep the frame from crushing. Well, over here on the passenger side are the same 2 slots. What is that for? Right-hand drive in other countries. So, and there's actually a knockout on the front of the cab for the steering column to come through. I thought that was pretty cool. Thought I'd share.